Welcome to the Smarts Group live class on logging in and navigating the Zoho control bar. Whether this is your first experience with a customer relationship management system or you've been using them for years, I think you'll find that Zoho offers an interface that is both powerful and easy to use. Today, we are going to log into the Zoho CRM, and then we're going to look at the control bar. Specifically, we're going to look at how to find modules. We're going to look at the ellipsis that tells us, hey, there's more. And we're going to look at the very powerful search function. We are going to start there at zoho.com. If you've already logged in or you've told your web browser to remember your login credentials, there are basically two ways to access the CRM from here. And I'll show you both of them right now. First and foremost, we can click on the handshake, the CRM. That takes us to this screen, and from here we can click on Access Zoho CRM. We can also click there, which takes us back to the same place, but here's our CRM. There are some reminders. I'll put those away for now. We have a class on those. Right now, though, I'm going to go back to Zoho CRM. It's actually zoho.com, which is where we began. If you just go to zoho.com, this is where you start. First, we went to this icon. We can also get there by hovering over products. And we have those different types of Zoho products. And the first one is sales and marketing. And the first item up in the top left corner of that is the CRM. Once again, we're at this screen, and then we access Zoho CRM. To be honest, I usually leave my CRM homepage up and running all the time. You could also bookmark the CRM, the Zoho homepage. Chances are good that you're using Zoho for much of your working day, so you'll want to be able to access it quickly or simply leave it running. Here I am on my Zoho home screen. Let's take a look around after I mention one more thing that's sort of important. If your screen does not look exactly like mine does while we're doing this, do not panic. Depending on your Zoho installation, depending on how an administrator has set it up, or depending on how long you've been working with it, your Zoho home screen and much of your Zoho interface might look slightly different from what I've got here. Do not worry about it. The principles, the icons that we'll be dealing with today are common to all versions of Zoho, except for one or two where I'll mention that, that things are different depending on different versions of Zoho. If an administrator has already started to set up your Zoho instance, your home screen may look different, but again, the interface parts that we'll be dealing with today are common. So up at the top here, up in the top of my browser window, I've got this colorful bar. This is stuck to the top of my web browser, so as I scroll, it's still stuck there. We can change the color of this, so don't worry if yours does not look exactly like mine does. Let's walk through some of what we see here. Starting at the far left, we have three horizontal bars, three horizontal lines, and these allow us to select tab groups if they've been set up by the administrator or if they've been set up already for the system that you're working on. If you're an administrator, you probably want to leave this set up to all tabs. Otherwise, you may have one or more tab groups here. And tab groups are simply these modules that are listed across the top left side of this screen. Those can be configured. To the right of tab groups, we have a button called Home. The Home button is always there, no matter what your tab groups have been set at, no matter how an administrator may have set up your Zoho instance. Home is always immediately to the right of the tab groups, and you'll find it up here, and it's a great place to keep going back to whenever you're working in Zoho. Then we have leads, contacts, accounts, activities, campaigns, and deals. Each of these tabs links to a module, some important function of the Zoho CRM. As with nearly everything that you see here, an administrator can configure this to look the way you need it to so that you can get your work done effectively. So leads, contacts, accounts, you're not stuck with these. You have rather a lot more modules potentially available to you. And that we find those underneath the ellipsis here. This is an icon or a graphic that we often see in Zoho. The 3 dots, the ellipsis, it's the graphic that says, wait, there's more. And so there is. In this case, we click on the ellipsis and we see a long scrolling list of additional modules. The exact number of modules depends on which version of Zoho you've bought and whether somebody in your organization has built custom modules already. The order of these modules can be configured as well, so you or an administrator can put the most commonly used modules either up in the control bar, Zoho control bar, or at the top of the drop-down list. If you don't immediately see the module that you're looking for in the drop-down list, there's a magnifying glass, a search function that lets you type in some of the letters of the module that you're looking for. So if I'm looking for the vendors module, I can type the letter V. Notice that Zoho tells me all the modules that include the letter V anywhere inside them. Zoho doesn't just look for the first letter. As I type more letters, Zoho narrows down my search results. If I want to abandon my search, I can click the mouse anywhere outside the area, or I can hit the escape key on my keyboard, and that gets me out of there. And then I can clear that and see all my modules again. At the right side of the Zoho control bar, we have 7 icons. 7 buttons that we can hit. Now these aren't modules, these are functions. On the left side, those are modules. On the right side, there are functions. And the first of these is another search function. And this one is a powerhouse. When I click on this search function, I can look for just about any information that I've put into my Zoho CRM. We could spend a bunch of time on this, but I'll give you some of the most common situations right here. I can look for, actually, the word Smith. Let's say that I'm looking for Smith, but I don't know whether Smith is a lead or a contact or an account or an activity or anything else. So if I just type the word Smith in, Zoho tells me that I have in the leads module, I have Sally and Michael Smith. That arrow says I can click on this and go to that particular record. I also have a bunch of tasks. There's my tasks header, and I have a bunch of send welcome emails, as well as another task labeled immediate follow-up based on new lead. I could narrow this down and I can say, Michael, Michael, there's a lead, a task, and there's a deal associated with Michael. But if I say Michael Smith, then there's 1 task and 1 lead. So you'll notice that, let me go to that, just show you how clicking on that takes me to the Michael Smith record in the leads module. Whichever module is active here has a slightly shaded, a lighter color behind the name. So there's the leads module, there's the contacts module, and let's go back to home. All right. Already you've seen that the search function changes its scope, namely what it searches for, based on where you are within the Zoho application. The one at the top, under the ellipsis, searches within modules. The one off to the right searches within the data that we've entered into Zoho. There's another one that we've got that will search within the setup options to see which setup parameters or which control panel names match that particular search term or that search letter. Let me put that search away by clicking on the X button. We can still run in Zoho even with that search up and running, but if we want to clean up our interface a little bit, we can make it go away. Next up, we've got the alert. This is the bell icon, and this is information that Zoho thinks should be brought to our attention. It's divided into sales signals on our particular version of Zoho, and on the right, it discusses feeds of information. We have a lesson on both these topics. Check out the course register on the Marks Group Live site to find out what those courses are and how to reach them. One more box over. We have a very commonly used button in Zoho. If your screen had a sort of little shiny part like your keyboard for the key that you hit really often, like the right half of your space bar if you're right-handed, that would be right here, the plus icon. This plus icon says you can add a record to any module in Zoho. Every Zoho module allows you to create a new one, whether it's a new lead, a contact, an event, a sales order. The plus button shows you a drop-down menu of all of your available modules. So when you click on one, you'll create a new record in that module. So there's a plus sign for sales order. I can click on that, and now Zoho has pulled me into the sales orders module, and it's allowing me to create a new record in the sales order module. Something to note on these modules that are listed up in the left side of the Zoho control bar, the last one, and sometimes the last two, are the most recently used modules. So if I go home, let's say I'm going to the classes right now, that is the most recently used module. So the most recently used module is immediately beside the ellipsis. This is very handy and very useful. Let's see. So the plus, that's the one. Create a new something is kind of how we can translate that. Next up, the calendar button. The calendar. This pops open a 1 month view of the calendar. I can scroll forward and backwards by months and years using the single chevron for months and the double chevron for years. I can click on any given day and get a 1 day view of that day. And let me go back a couple of months and underline below a, let's go to today. Here's the button for today. An underline below a date means that there's something happening in that day. So I can go to the 17th of January, excuse me, and I can see the 2 events that were scheduled for that day. Let's go back to the home screen and back to the calendar. So I can also view the large calendar by day, by week, or by month, and I can also access those here. There's the day, the week, or the month. And once again, I'll use the home button to take myself back to my home screen. One more button over, we have the messages icon. This is a quick way to see incoming messages, but it's not a complete email client. It is possible to integrate Zoho into either Microsoft Outlook or your Google account. That should be a short class in our training library. One more icon over, we have the crossed tools, and this takes us to setup. Some versions of Zoho have a gear or a cog there instead of the crossed tools. Either way, it'll be the one that is immediately to the left of your profile icon there at the far right. Here we have another setup icon. Here we have another search icon. We've seen this magnifying glass a few times. This time, the search function allows us to search within Zoho's setup area for a specific setup function or control panel. Depending on your access level, you might be seeing up to 50 different control panels, almost 50, I think it's 48 right now, different setup areas. If you're an administrative user, you see all of them. For a non-administrative user, you may see fewer of them. or you may be able to access fewer of them. But the search function can still be useful in showing you what you need more quickly. Like any other Zoho search tools, this one is wickedly fast, and it immediately shows you not just the titles of control panels, but also parameters within those panels. So for example, if I type the word mail, Zoho tells me that there's a parameter called Zoho Mail Add-on Users within the Security Control panel. In the email setup area, or the email control panel, there's an email field, there's an email sharing field, and so on. A little bit farther down, in the templates setup area, or the templates control panel, there's an email parameter there. There's an email notifications parameter inside the actions. And of course, these are links, so I can go directly there. So I can go to mail merge within the templates control panel, and there I am. Very, very fast. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to go back to my setup area. And once again, of course, I can also click on these setup panels anywhere. I can click on these setup panels without having to search through them. Let's go back to home. And finally, the last icon on the right, the last part of our Zoho control bar, we have the profile information for whoever is logged in at this time. For me, I'm the TMG Marks Group Live admin. That's my user ID. I can access account details there. I can click on my subscription. Zoho tells me that that is my current subscription, and I can manage that. There are two help functions that are built into Zoho, one of which are resources that you can access, and one of which is a chat window that will open up to Zoho's people, a what's new area, and of course the sign out. So that's our introduction to the Zoho CRM, logging in and navigating the control bar. In this class, we took a look at logging into Zoho and accessing the CRM application from the zoho.com website. We took a look at the control bar. Specifically, we took a look at finding modules that are up in the Zoho control bar, the ellipsis that tells us there's more to see here, and we looked at the very powerful search function. I do hope that you've enjoyed our class today. Please do check out our video library for other tips and training videos like this one. If you have suggestions for other classes or how to adjust this class topic, please email us at support@marksgrouplive.com. You can also email us for questions about this video and any other questions you may have about Zoho, again, at support@marksgrouplive.com. Thanks for watching.